everyone, today in this video I'm going to be checking out the Eureka. This is the J15 Pro Ultra. Special thanks to Eureka for sending us this sample, but I want you to know that any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, link to it will be in the video description. Take a look at the retail box and packaging, highlighting some key features here. 16,200 pascals of suction power, Flexi Razor anti-hair tangling system there. Advanced edge cleaning with scrub extend for the mop with that flexi arm design. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature. We have multiple languages for the quick start guide, and we have a full instruction guide and manual. Next, you'll find a multi-purpose cleaning tool, detangling, and we have a bristle brush. We have our side brush for the vacuum itself. That'll just snap in place. We have our two mop pads, microfiber cloths, got the Eureka purple on them. They're just Velcro, so you can take them off to easily wash, rinse, and replace. We have the ramp for the station, we have the vacuum itself, and we have the station. Let's look at the vacuum and station in more detail. Starting with the top of the vacuum, we have our Navi Polaris obstacle avoidance, Eureka's logo and branding, two control buttons. We can long press the power button to turn it on and off, and short press to start or pause the clean. Then we can press the power plug button here. That's going to return it to the base station to charge. At the top, we have a lid that flips up to reveal a Wi-Fi indicator light, reset button. We have our dustbin here. Love the purple accents. We have our care instructions for the dustbin. We can remove the filter so you can see the filter. We have some foam and a wire screen. And here's a look inside the dustbin. Get a better feel for its size. Looking at the very front on our bumper, we have our camera, lights, and sensors, the 3D AI IntelliView branding on the side. Here's a look at the right side of the vacuum. Here's a look at the back side. We have our dust outlet here for all the contents for the self-empty. Charging contacts, we got our water inlet there. Here's a look at the other side. Get a feel for the bumper movement, additional sensor. Then we're back to the very front. Looking at the underside, we have our two spring-loaded drive wheels, omnidirectional wheel, multiple cliff sensors. This is where the included side cleaning brush will be installed. And it just snaps right in place. And it's labeled R for you, and the blue matches the blue. Take a look at the main brush roller with the Eureka purple. You can see that up close. And then we have our detangling system down here underneath with it removed. Close up of the detangling system there. Moving along down here, this is where the mop pads are going to be installed. This is your scrub extend in action. You'll notice on this side that this pad is able to kick out to get further along the edges and into corners. And they just mount magnetically. So they just snap right on in place. But again, this side can kick out when it's powered on. It'll be able to move all the way out there to extend it beyond the vacuum itself when it's mopping. Moving along to the station, at the top we have two handles here to remove our dirty water tank and our clean water tank. Both are clearly marked and labeled, and they pull right out. Here's your close-up of the dirty water tank from all sides and angles, and then we can open it up. You can see inside with the float system here. Here's your close-up of the clean water tank from all sides and angles. Up at the top, it's a little bit harder to see here. We have a max indicator letting us know when we put all of the water in the clean water tank. It's basically at the very top of this rim and little lip right here. That's going to be your full indicator. And take a look inside there. Clearly labeled. Nice, clear, and transparent. There's a look at that handle in action. Here's your left side profile. This is the top, this is the bottom. Here's your right side profile. This is the top, this is the bottom. Here's a look at the very back. This is the top, this is the bottom. Got a grip handle here, on and off switch, built-in cable management with a channel on both sides to route it through to get it flush and closer to your wall or furniture, wherever you have this resting up against. Here's a look at the bottom. This is gonna be the back side. This will be the very front. We have 4 large grip feet. And here's a look at the very front. Eureka's logo and branding up at the top. We have a removable cover right here. It just pops up and out of the way. 3 prongs and tabs at the bottom. That reveals our already installed vacuum bag, which we can remove. So you get a feel for the size of it and what it looks like with it removed. And then this is where all the magic happens down at the bottom. Charging contacts. This is where it can refill itself, wash, clean, and dry itself. We also have a removable tray right here for the station. Just pops up and out of the way. If we ever want to manually wash or clean it, we can. But it does support the ability to clean itself. And then we just line it back up and it snaps right back in place. And at the end right here, this little lip, if we lift this up, we can attach the included ramp to the unit. Just line everything up. We have multiple tabs here. And then it'll basically just snap in place. Just press it right in, and the treads and the track will line up with each other. It's time to charge it up, fill it up, and try it out. All right, we just finished our first clean. Let's take a look at the real world results from vacuuming my house. I have a very hairy household with 3 long-haired individuals with hair down to the shoulders or further, and I have a dog that's about 70, 80 pounds, and he's got nice long hair. Think along the lines of like a golden retriever, shepherd. He's got that sort of coat. So let's start with the vacuum itself. Up at the top, just your typical hair and a little bit of dirt and crumbs starting to accumulate. Then we'll open this up. I intercepted it so it wouldn't self-empty, so we can see all of the contents in the dustbin. And look at that. There it is. It's jam-packed full of stuff. Here's your close-up. So disgusting. Let's empty it out so we can see everything from the hair to the crumbs. Look at that massive wad there. Spectacular. It's got this huge clump there with all the fur and the hair and the crumbs and debris, everything down at the bottom. And I got really fine dust on my hands too that is collected, which is great to see that it's trapped in the dustbin and not being exhausted back out through the house. Filter close up. We got that really fine dirt and dust in there, so make sure that you rinse that out. And there's the filter with our foam removed. Fairly clean still, but I can see a lot of stuff already trapped in there. And then we got even more stuff on our wire mesh screen in the dustbin too. Side looks good, but we do have some dust starting to accumulate, so just make sure you wipe this down every once in a while. And for the underside, this is what I was waiting for. I wanted to see how the hair detangling actually worked. Now, I'll give them a lot of credit here. On the main brush roller, I'm really not seeing any human hair or pet hair. This is all fiber from a really long shag rug that we have. So I wonder if that has something to do with the thickness of that versus the pet hair or the human hair, because you saw the huge wad that we were able to vacuum up, and I don't see any, not even one human hair on here, no dog hair, just the long shag rug fibers, which is interesting. So I'm wondering if they're just a little too thick to be effectively cut away like your pet hair and human hair. But compared to most of the detangling systems like this, this one's definitely the most effective that I've seen with this style, but I've never seen one that's as good as having the cone-shaped brush rollers that you'll find on Narwhal and now Dreamy and Roborock vacuums that basically eliminate all hair. This isn't bad though. So from what I've seen, this is going to be probably the best detangling system, but again, that's from the pet hair and human hair perspective, not from the long threads from our shag rug. But it's great to see that there's no hair accumulated on the side brush here. I was expecting to have some hair to cut away there. Maybe in the future we will, time will tell. And then the mop pads look as good as new. These look fantastic still. But that's not all. I wanted to show you the removable tray just so you can get a better feel for what to expect from the washboard. Not bad at all here. I got some hair on the side, some fuzz. We had some evaporated water here that left behind a little film of really fine dirt and dust. But that doesn't look bad at all. This is so easy to remove and rinse down as needed. Don't worry, I'm going to show you under the black cover too here. A little bit of water still that needs to evaporate out here. And then we have some more debris on the underside that's collected. Moving along to the mobile app, the J15 Pro Ultra has a nice modern mobile app that's easy and straightforward. Let me show you. Here's a look at the device from our account, where we can select enter to enter in. We can see our map right here, notifications like the dust bag's not installed. All of that can be seen and monitored in real time. We'll start in the top right hand corner. We have 3 dots. We can select those to view all of our settings. We can schedule a cleaning. We can view our work history. That's what the work log is. Map management. This does support multi-level mapping, and you can create a new map down at the bottom with that big blue or purple button. So we have map management there. Here's our clean settings where we can adjust how it handles carpet. So pick and choose what you want to do there. Enhanced edge and corner cleaning, flexible edge cleaning, gap cleaning, enhanced cleaning beneath and around desks and chairs, hair cutting settings. So never standard turbo. We can even do super strong cutting, threshold pressurization, auto recharge and resume. There's a lot of options here on the clean settings that we can toggle on or off depending on our preferences. Then you'll see things like voice settings, station settings. We can customize the mop wash frequency, self-emptying frequency. We can change that too. We have mop washing mode. So quick, daily, and deep, hot water washing, water temperature, air drying, drying mode, cool or hot, duration 2 or 3 hours, self-cleaning frequency. You get the idea, but we can adjust and customize the station controls for cleaning. Next, we have accessory lifetime. This shows us when it's time to replace common parts and components. Then we have our general settings, so we can turn on or off things like child lock and do not disturb mode. Same with the LED light. We can adjust the area, time zone, all of that for our vacuum. Take note, there's a reset and restart option down there too under the general settings. Then we have AI Cleaning Butler. You can toggle these features on or off as you see fit. Pretty neat. We have AI Obstacle Avoidance and Recognition. I like to have the live action photos on. Superior Obstacle Avoidance. We can adjust that setting there. Pet Mode, Recognition of Home Scenarios. So there's a lot you can adjust here. AI Video Patrol, you can use this for live video monitoring if you want to capture some photos and videos and patrol your home in real time. Then we have manual control, so we can use our phone to drive the vacuum manually. We can also locate the robot. There's a lot of our device-specific settings here down at the bottom. So spend a minute there. Then back on the main screen, we have our map tools, so we can pick and choose our map and what we want to do to it. We have region settings, so this is where we can set up virtual walls, no-go zones, or no mop zones. All of that's drag and drop. Same with the threshold. We can add a threshold too. And again, you can add multiples of each. We have room management. This is where we can do things like merge, divide, rename, or change cleaning order on our map. Then we have floor material, so you can adjust the floor material. And if for some reason you want to build out and add furniture on your map, you can do that right here. It's all drag and drop. It's just for your own pleasure versus anything that helps the vacuum navigate or refine anything like that. Below the map tools is the video icon to get into the live video monitoring to patrol around your house. And then down at the bottom, we have all of our different cleaning tabs. We can do zone cleaning, so we can add up to 5 areas. And then we can change how many times we want to clean those areas, 1, 2, or 3 times. We can conduct a full clean everywhere, or we can do a room clean. So pick and choose which rooms you want to clean. And then at the bottom, we have our different settings. So we can customize based on each room. So you can adjust that depending on your environment. So say your kitchen's dirtier and heavily trafficked, you want to change your cleaning preference there and suction power, all that, versus somewhere else like your family room. You can make all those adjustments right there. We have our mop only mode. We have our vacuum only mode. We have our vacuum then mop mode. We have our vacuum and mop mode. And then we have smart, so basically an auto AI driven mode that will do all of that for you. But for each setting, we can customize suction power, mopping preference. So basically low, medium, or standard high for the water level. Path preference, you can do a really fine one, a daily one, or a quick one. And then we have tic-tac-toe mode. Basically, when cleaning twice, the robot will perform a crisscross sweeping and mopping pattern. So you can enable that if you want. But that's all of your cleaning settings there. Very easy to navigate this app, find what you're looking for, and customize the station, the vacuum, and the clean around your house. How does the J15 Pro Ultra stack up against the competition? Let's find out. We'll be comparing it to the averages of over 100 different robot vacuums that I've personally tested to get a better feel for where this fits in the grand scheme of things. We'll look at some key metrics and benchmarks and feature sets so we can get a better picture of this vacuum overall compared to the competition. First up, starting with max suction power measured in pascals, 16,200 pascals. That's over twice the average in regards to suction power, and with this metric, usually higher the better. That's not always the case, but it's what we want to see. And following that same theme, higher is better with max CFM, which we measure in-house. Now, compared to suction power, the CFM is not twice as much as the average, but it's still above average, which is a good leading indicator for actual real-world performance. And no surprise, how did it actually perform? Fantastic. It got a score of 95 out of 100. We vacuum coffee grounds into carpet and measure before and after results. That's well above average. 8% above average. And even though we have twice the suction power in regards to max decibels, this comes in right at the average of 72. What does that mean? This is going to be on the quieter side for a more powerful vacuum, but compared to your average vac and this vac, or even ones that are in the, mid to high 70s, you'll be able to notice and hear this vacuuming. It's not like it's going to be silent moving around your house. Next up is battery life. This is measured in minutes. I'm not sure what settings Eureka had when they advertised the 100-minute mark. It's 70 minutes below average. Usually brands will really stretch this number, so it's refreshing to see that Eureka, for whatever reason, chose not to do that. It's going to give you a more accurate picture of what you can expect. Plenty of juice to get you through any of your cleans, but keep in mind your mileage will vary depending on your suction and mopping settings. And to ease any fears about battery concerns, we have an above average battery capacity by 1,000 milliamps. Next up is height. This is measured in inches, 4.6 inches. That's going to be almost an inch above average because our average skews lower for cheaper vacuums that don't have LiDAR modules, so they're not going to be as tall. And on the other side of things, flagship models now have like solid state sensors and LiDAR along the front and the side, or the module can retract and come back in, lowering the height. A good feature to see that this vacuum is equipped with is self-empty. We're finding that in about 72% of models that we've tested. And similar percentages for mopping. 70% of vacuums that we test have some sort of mopping system. Now, a feature that I really wanted to see with this vacuum that we don't have that spoils me with other robot vacs is the ability to detach and reattach mop pads. Dreamy and now Roborock is starting to incorporate this feature on their flagship models. We're only seeing it on 3% of models, so it's not expected on this model, but it would definitely be a nice to have. And speaking of nice to haves, Mop Extend is a great feature, and we do have this on the J15 Pro Ultra. We're only seeing that in 15% of models, so that's a win for us. And the wins keep coming. We have a 12mm mop lift height compared to the average of 10. Those 2mm could make a difference between touching your carpets or rugs or not. Next up is solution dispensing. Unfortunately, the J15 Pro does not have this feature. I'd like to see it added in the future with just a solution tank on the unit that you can fill up, and then it can fill up the vacuum and do all that automatically. But Eureka pulled out all the stops for hot water washing for the mop pads, and that hotter water helps to break down more stains, dirt, and grime and keep your mops cleaner overall. 13 degrees above average, which is great to see. And that continues with hot air drying as well. Nice above average score of 131 degrees Fahrenheit compared to the average of 118. That's just going to mean that your mop pads will dry faster. Eureka could have knocked it out of the park if they included side brush reach. That really is a top of the line premium flagship feature, only found in 2% of models so far, but once you use it and see it in action, it's pretty cool. It reaches out and extends the side brush in the corners and hard to reach areas, providing even further coverage. But they did give us a premium feature in main brush lifting, so it's able to lift that brush up and out of the way to avoid contacts with spills or messes. That just makes things cleaner for you overall. We've only seen that in 1% of units that we've tested, so it's pretty impressive that they included that on this particular model. And while it doesn't have the cone-shaped design for its brush roller that I prefer, this does have built-in brush detangling, and compared to all the comb systems like this is going to be one of the best ones that we've ever tested. So I will give them credit for that, but it's still not as good as the cone-shaped brush rollers where the hair just automatically rolls down to the end of the cone and gets sucked into the vacuum. But we'll tip the cap to Eureka for the built-in LED light. This has one of the cooler LED lights that I've seen. I just like the aesthetics of the lights on both sides. That's actually for the vacuum's benefit, so it can navigate better in low light areas. And since this vacuum does have a camera on the front, it's great that they give us access to it. A lot of you might not like that for privacy concerns, which I understand, but at this point, you're already using a smartphone with the camera, you already have a vacuum connected to the internet, so just assume that if somebody wants information, they're gonna get it regardless. But anyways, that's kind of besides the point. It does have a camera that you can use for live video monitoring. You can use it as a home patrolling device, check on your pets, patrol your house, whatever you want. I like that feature and functionality myself. We're seeing that in 14% of models out there. So where does that leave us in regards to the Eureka J15 Pro Ultra? Let me share with you my final thoughts. First, let's start with the pros. So this has hot water washing and hot air drying, so great temps there to see. Mop Extend, we also have hair detangling tech, so if you like that comb style system, this is one of the better ones. I should say the best one we've seen so far. It also has a built-in LED light, main brush roller lifting, which is cool. So if you want to make sure that's out of the way and not contaminated with any messes on your floors, it has that functionality. And it has station self-cleaning, further removing you from any chores and tasks that you'd have to do with this particular robot. So it's got a lot of things you would really like. But there are things you might not like as well. So what would need improvement with this particular vacuum? Let me share with you some of the cons. The first and biggest one in my experience is going to be the obstacle avoidance. It definitely has plenty of room for improvement, but the good news is a lot of that could be done and achieved with firmware upgrades in the future. So you wouldn't have to get a new vacuum per se if they would choose to refine that with updates over time. Also, there's no side brush reach or extension. I'd like to see that added with this model in the future. No detergent tank for solution. That feels like a miss given this mopping system and how capable it is overall. And there's no two-way audio for video monitoring, at least that I could find so far. Maybe that'll change in the future, but if you wanted to use this to talk to your pet or somebody in your house, you won't have that functionality.